Structure is the arrangement of parts in a complex entity. All games have structure, and Persona has a pretty interesting one. The combination of fantasy dungeon crawling and a regular day-to-day life of a student creates a blend of gameplay that can be hard to get right. Modern Persona, also known as the Hashino trilogy, have followed the same format for the last decade and a half. There have been some minor alterations, like Tartarus taking place at night in Persona 3, while Persona 4 and 5 have daytime dungeon crawling instead, but even with that, the general structure of the games has remained pretty unchanged. The social sim aspect of Persona games has become more and more integral to the gameplay loop. Persona 3 Social Links had very little to do with the dungeon crawling, outside of giving you a bonus EXP boost when fusing personas. Persona 4 took it a step further and made it so that your party members' social links would give them access to new moves. But the crown jewel is Persona 5, which has every social link grant you new passive abilities that can assist in dungeon crawling and time-saving function. Without a doubt, I believe that the social sim aspect is here to stay, even with Hashino no longer helming the franchise. But is it possible that the new team is going to change how social links function?
Far as we know, he was just pulling that shit out of his ass.
Persona 5 is Atlus's most successful game of all time. It has reached peaks that most JRPGs only dream of touching. So why would there be any change to an existing template of the series? Is it not the time to play it safe, especially with the huge gap between Persona 5 and 6? Well, change is a part of sequels. Even the best games go through many changes when it comes to making a new entry. Some people will like those changes, and some people will hate them. The potential change that I want to talk about is with the social link system. Atlus has released 2 games since Persona 5 that follow a similar social sim structure. That's Metaphor Refantazio and Persona 3 Reload. Both of these change the social system in some way that could make Persona 6 take into account those changes, or at least change how the game tackles this element.
Time marches on, and the age of a new king draws nearer.
Metaphor's approach to social links is fairly similar to Persona, unsurprising as it is helmed by the man who made the modern Persona titles into what they are today. In this game, you have bonds with your followers, and each of their followers' stories tell a story about them, typically involving their past. This should all sound familiar, but Metaphor decides to ease up on the pressure of choice. Persona social links have right and wrong choices. Sometimes those right choices are questionable, like actively encouraging your teammate with an injured leg to just keep running, but most of the time, you have to pick the right choice to rack up the most points. This allows you to avoid having to spend an extra time slot hanging out with them and not actually progressing the story of the social link. Basically, the right choices will provide you with ways to advance a link faster. Metaphor does not have this, at least not in the same way. Regardless of if you choose right or wrong, the link will progress at the same rate. Instead, if you pick the right answers, the game gives you points to use for combat and class upgrades, which can also be obtained in other ways, so there's no real pressure. It takes the pressure way off you as a player, as it no longer requires you to think incredibly carefully before picking your answers to avoid wasting time. And this could be a way Persona 6 approaches social links. We've seen that as time marched on, there has been a lot of easing up on how difficult it is to complete every social link in a Persona game, with Persona 3 requiring you to spend most of your time flawlessly in order to get everything done. Persona 4 has a little more wiggle room, but still requires a decent amount of planning, while Persona 5 feels the most freeform, and when done right, you'll still have a couple weeks extra free time. However, I personally feel that this goes against the design philosophy of the Persona games. Persona games are about spending your time wisely. Your character is given a limited amount of time in which the bonds you form are crucial to the impact of that narrative. By limiting the pressure of choosing the right thing to say to someone, it feels like it might remove an important feeling that you would get growing up and having those same conversations with your friends, or sometimes maybe you don't say the exact thing that you do want to say. But I do understand why some people want this change, as it gives you the freedom to pick the answer choice you want to pick. Metaphor's change, I think, is probably less likely to happen, as it is a different IP with a different team's design philosophy, but I don't want to rule out the possibility that it could happen. There could even be a mix where some social links that don't require you to hit a point value to advance, like Yoshida and Mishima in Persona 5, can have this mechanic instead, while other social links stay as they are. Automatic social links kind of suck. I think the grandest example I can think of for this is Akechi in vanilla Persona 5. Now, this is your only spoiler warning I'm going to give about this. I will talk about Akechi's plotline and character growth within mainline Persona 5 right here. His social link instead just kind of happens whenever he winds up interacting with Joker during the story. And spoilers for Persona 5, but in the interrogation room, canonically, Joker isn't even there, and this still advances the social link. It is one of the dumbest social links in the game. Now, where am I going with this? Simple. Persona 3 Reload introduced link episodes to the formula of P3. The reason for this was simply that the game could not facilitate an additional set of social links, especially not with overlapping arcana. Link episodes are short social link-like episodes that were put into the game to give players more interaction with certain characters. The point I'm trying to get across here is that future Persona titles could use link episodes as a way to give us a cohesive storyline outside of automatic social links for specific characters. And the point I raise against this is, what exactly is the difference between a link episode like this and a random regular social hangout that just happens within the story like this? Just that one is missable and one isn't. To get to the point, while I would appreciate the addition of link episodes, I feel as though the impact of having them is due to the structure of P3R and it being a remake. The only thing that this truly makes room for is to have characters who are not just social links have some kind of social interaction with the main character. Characters like Shiho or Lala, you know, characters that people really want to have social links with, but we just don't have the space to do it. That could be a way to do it. It's not necessarily a bad thing, but it could just also add more bloat to a game that doesn't need it. So I'm not opposed to this mechanic returning in future mainline games, but it definitely feels like something that would be reserved for remakes when they want to add something new, but they don't want to change the existing formula of the game.
God damn it!
And this one has no basis, it's just something I thought about. I believe there is potential for social links to vary in length. Persona 3, 4, and 5 see social links as 10 ranks, and that's certainly a good uniform length, but is it possible for them to change that? Some social links being shorter and others being longer could be an interesting way to spice up the formula. That said, there really isn't much indication of Atlas stepping away from uniform lengths. While Metaphor only has 8 ranks per follower, they also do not deviate from this length for any follower. Everyone just has 8. In the end, I just don't see this happening. It would be an interesting approach to allow social links to vary in length, but it complicates some things from a design perspective that I think uniform length just makes it easier to deal with. You have to keep in mind the number of days that you would need at minimum to complete a social link, and there need to be X number of links, and it makes the mathematics of it just more complex than it already is. So in short, I don't see this happening. It's just a change that I think could happen at some point, or has the potential to be there, but it's not something that I really think is necessary either. It just doesn't really make that much sense to me.
Well, stop it. You're gonna drive away all my customers.
Ultimately, the decision to alter social link structure and mechanics is solely up to Atlas and the team working on Persona 6. I believe that P6 will likely attempt to play it safe rather than make drastic changes. The game has been in development for at least 6 years, and with no solid announcement as of this recording, it seems that it may be cooking a decent while longer. That means it's an expensive game both in time and money. Atlas will likely not shake up parts of the Persona franchise that people are currently familiar with. But do you have any ideas for changes to the social link system? Let me know in the comments below. As always, you can leave a like if you enjoyed the video and subscribe to the channel for more things Persona, Atlas, and JRPG related. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.